see who you're going to pick.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Roma Theory. We are back with a debate. We're here with Chris,
Yes,
and
Rakio.
today we'll be discussing favorite Roma players all time and also current favorite Roma players. But I mean, yeah, how do you want to start? Little introduction.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say, I mean, in the United States, it was when I was growing up, before the internet and all that kind of stuff, it was very hard to be into Italian football. So I came a little bit late '90s, and but Tati was ultimately the one that brought me to it. I was playing FIFA, and he was on the Italy national team, and then obviously scored like all my goals, and then that got me into Roma. So I was a little bit of a latecomer. Didn't get into football until I guess maybe late high school. But afterwards, I started hating on American sports, and I'm in a minority now. So
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough. You don't want to know my theory of why soccer is not popular in the United States?
Sure.
Ad revenue. So the only reason is that think about American football and baseball and hockey. You have the play stops every 30 seconds, 15 seconds. So all these little spots for advertisements. And then in soccer, you have 90 minutes. So TV broadcasters, radio didn't want to do that back in the day. That's the only reason why it's not
Yeah,
popular
no, I
here.
fully agree. I actually, I'm curious about this because I am seeing a growth in football in the United States. I really am. I think the national team is improving.
Yeah.
Some
Well, the
yeah,
talent
young
pool is getting
individuals.
bigger because more people are afraid to put their kids in American football because of the head injuries.
Yeah,
It's like I played American football back in the day, and I'll never let my son play. So I think that's one of the main reasons that a lot of your like raw athletic talent will just go into football, like say 20 years ago and earlier, because it's one of the best sports that's conducive to just raw athleticism. If we can get some of those like raw athletic talented players to leave those sports and play soccer, it would take off.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree.
But
Um,
anyway, let's get into the debate, man. Let's
right,
see.
let's
I
get
have a
into this.
feeling.
I mean, before getting into the little juicy part of all-time favorite player, because we got to build some suspense. I would start off with current favorite player in the Roma squad. I'll let you go, and
See,
then I'll say mine.
you threw me a curveball, but I would say uh, if I were to go off, and this is not off skill, just who I like the most on the team, and I would say Mancini
Mm.
because he's just a ball of aggression, and that's kind of like how I am, and he's just tenacious, man. And he's a good leader. I think he's a better leader at heart than Pellegrini.
Yeah.
Obviously, Pellegrini being more technical and skillful relative to his position, but I do think that mentality-wise, he's the true legionary.
Oh, I
You
fully
know,
agree. Did you see him dive at the last minute yesterday when we won?
yeah, that was a one hell of a celebration. I
Oh
mean, that
my
just
God,
shows how
that
much
guy.
he loves this team.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that he's faking it. I don't think it at all. Like, so a
No,
lot of people think,
I think the thing with Mancini, I've said it many times. I think he uses a lot because I mean, let's be honest. Technically, Mancini is not amazing. I mean, he can
no,
do, defense wise, he does his job. But I think the fact that he isn't technical enough, he knows this, and he uses all of that passion and aggression to kind of get the faith of the fans back. Because
yeah,
technique
totally.
wise, I'll say myself, and I'm a big admirer of Mancini. His feet aren't amazing. He does his job in defense, but again, I think he uses that spirit to catch the fans, and I absolutely
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, he's got a lot of room to grow. I don't think, obviously, I don't think he's one of the best center backs in the league. I don't
Yeah,
think
no,
that he should be starting on the national team, but I just love his mentality.
yeah.
But I also think, well, first off, I'm going to hear your favorite player right now. But before we give our favorite all time, I want to try to guess yours, and you should try to guess
Okay, yeah,
mine.
yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah, yeah. So my current Roma, I mean, it's I've got a few. I mean, I won't say Dybala because it's boring. It's absolutely boring. Dybala's clearly the best, but I'm not gonna say him. I'm stuck between two. But ultimately, if I kind of trace it down, I have to go with El Shaarawy.
Nice.
I
I
have
love
to
that. I
go
was
with El
not expecting
Shaarawy
that.
because he is the. I mean, he's the only player in this current team which we can say I've grown up with. So I remember El Shaarawy back when we played Chelsea in 2018, and the real fans will know how hard it was to stop El Shaarawy in his prime. Unbelievable player, scored impossible goals, which if he tries now, he would never actually score. I just love him, and I think again the fact that he cares about this club so much, the fact that he respects this club so much, those tears yesterday after the game, I mean, those tears got me going emotional.
Yeah.
I really felt him being sad. It's not easy, and I think El Shaarawy deserves it. And I'm gonna give it to him. But other mentions, obviously, you guys know that I love Bove because I see myself in him. I liked Tammy. Tammy will forever be in my heart.
Mm.
But obviously, I wouldn't say he's my favorite. I'd love to say Lukaku, but I'm not gonna say favorites players on loans because ultimately he could leave at the end of the season, and if I start loving him too much and then it's just a loan move and he goes away, then I'm gonna be very pissed. But I absolutely like him. I'm gonna go with Sharawi.
And with El Shah, I mean, I think with him, the fact that he's adapted, he's not playing in his normal
Yeah,
position these last few years, and he's still producing somewhat. Obviously, underperforming a little bit here and there, not very consistent. But the fact that he's willing to adjust and play way back and things like that is, yeah, the dude bleeds for the team. So I agree with that.
right. I mean, let's bring the big one on.
All
Um,
right.
I think I have a little feeling we're gonna have some very different players here.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna guess mine.
Um, Obviously, I mean, we can't say Totti. This is a rule which, yeah, we said
Yes,
before
exactly.
planning this video, it would be way too easy. So Totti can't happen. I am gonna go with. Let me think. I mean, it could be many. Choice is massive here. I'm gonna go Bruno Conti.
I knew you were going to try to pin me on that. No, no, no. But okay, I'm going to guess yours first. And now this one might be a little bit easy, and I'm only going with this because you live to watch him play, and that's DDR.
It's not DDR,
Oh, really?
but
Wow.
I
Okay.
mean DDR probably gonna be second pick, but it's not DDR.
Okay. So who goes first? Am I going first or you?
You go first.
All right. So mine is Giuseppe Giannini.
Wow,
Yeah, the Prince.
wow.
So because and the reason is because he came up under Falcao, right, and then was succeeded by Totti. So I mean, you have that type of legacy, and he was what was he with for 15 years? Has a lot of accolades that are similar to Totti. What was called Mr. Rome for the longest time, had the number
Yeah,
10 before Totti. Uh, was there for 15 years, turned down a lot of big clubs. Could do everything, even though he was in Regista. He could play the Mazzala role. Made late runs, scored a lot of goals, even though he was a deep line playmaker. What they call him, the Fantasista, because he was
yeah,
so
yeah.
majestic on the ball. So I mean, he could just do everything, man. And so yeah, I have to go with that. And now with that, three Coppa Italia, and even though he wasn't a huge contributor to the Scudetto in 82, 83, he was still on the team. So, but he didn't really have his breakout until like 83. I'm sorry, 84 or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who I'm going with. Just because he has a lot of similar career accolades as Totti, even though he was more on a defensive midfielder role, but could definitely play an attack.
Yeah.
Scored against the USA in the World Cup. which is funny. So, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna go
That's a
with.
big pick. That's a very big pick. I mean, look, I'm not in a position to actually give a massive judgment on him because I've never seen him play. But from what I've been told, he's magnificent. I mean, absolutely the prince, as you said.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, my player is more limited because obviously I'll give you a hint. It's in the last. He's played in the last 10 years. I hated football when I was little, so yeah, that's controversial. But
Really?
yeah, I absolutely hated football. I could not get around kicking balls and all of that.
Really? Why? Because your dad it was always watching it. It was like
It's
obsessive.
just, the sport just gave me absolutely nothing in terms of enthusiasm, in terms of leisure, zero.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, but yeah, my player is Nainggolan. I mean, it is. You
How could I
look at
not guess that?
Nainggolan and you're
You've
like,
said his name so much in the last few
yeah.
years. I should have totally said that.
Which again, people will probably go, it makes no sense because there were 30 better players than Nainggolan at least, if not even more. But you see, I've said this again. I grew up with Nainggolan being a beast. And you
Yeah.
look at this team now, and you look at this team in 2016, 2017, 2018, just add Nainggolan in it, and we would win the league. We would win the league. We would win the. He is just so good. He was a brick. Our midfield was a wall. The aggression, the love. I'd actually argue that his prime didn't last long because obviously it lasted 3 years, not more. But in
Mhm.
those 3 years, I saw a player which I'm yet to see in this team. A player so attached to the badge, but in a way, you see, Mancini is attached to the badge, but he's attached to the badge because he likes protesting. He likes that beef with other players. Nainggolan was a bastard player, but in the literal sports meaning, annoying player to
Yeah.
play against, slide tackles everywhere, massive player, and yeah, it has to be him for me. It really has to be.
Oh man, I thought you were definitely gonna pick a Roma-born player for
Yeah, no,
sure.
that's definitely. I was debating whether Dirossi tops him, and he does top Nangalan, obviously. But in terms of who I'm more attached to, I would definitely say Nangalan because similar
And plus, if
discussion
it's
to Totti. I've seen Totti and Dirossi play, but both of them I've seen play towards the end of their career. So, but yeah,
and
that's
didn't he score in that Barcelona comeback
he
too?
did, he did.
Yeah. So I mean, so that's one of the best games. I mean, anybody who's a Roma fan right now will be hard pressed to find a better game that they've ever
Yeah.
experienced. You know, so
Oh,
just his contribution there and that year. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that, but at the same time, it's like the fact that you have such like just a 3 year period and that's it. And not only that, but how he left Rome too
yeah.
wasn't kind of like. No, I disagree. I don't think it should have been such a disgrace just because he was drunk and smoking. On social media, I think they kind of made too much of a big deal about it. But I
Yeah, no, I think
understand
I
it.
think Monchi definitely played a massive part because that guy's a clown.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But I know you asked this a lot. Do you think he'll actually return, or you think that's no?
He won't return. He won't return because I mean he's said it many times how he wants to come back, but I think deep down he knows that if he comes back, he will obviously be loved because he's one of those legends. But at the same time, he's scared to ruin the reputation which he's built. I don't think he'll come back because I mean, at time of speaking, Mourinho won't take him.
Hmm.
Who I see after Mourinho, I don't think we would get a manager who would be interested in signing players like Nainggolan. I really don't. He is a
Yeah.
finished player. As Nainggolan's biggest admirer, I will absolutely agree on that. He's not the same player anymore. I would just bring him to improve the mentality, but that's it.
Nice. Well, yeah, man, I think you should definitely look up. You can find a lot more material on Giannini than I can because most of the stuff on YouTube is in Italian.
Yeah.
So I was trying to like brush up and find some stuff and hear some commentary, but none of it's in English, like zero, you know. So,
Well, yeah, we've
so
got so I there was a really nice documentary, but again, it was in Italian. Was it on Netflix? I think it was on Netflix or on something, another platform. But it was in Italian. But it was basically the biography of Giannini and the legacy which he has with this club. Very interesting. Definitely recommend it.
yeah, and what was I gonna say? It was something like I don't know where he coaches now, but he really wants to coach Rome. I'm not sure if he's good enough. It's kind of
Mm.
like DDR. It's like everybody's like, "Oh, we're great to have him coach," but he couldn't even cut it at Spal.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
that's true.
you know,
Yeah.
so I have to look up and see where he's coaching now. But it'd be nice to see something like, because like Ancelotti, somebody who used to play come back and coach, but that's wishful thinking. You know?
If he
So
hadn't accepted the Brazil national team, there was a little part of me which would have believed in Ancelotti coming back. But
yeah,
again, it's not gonna happen.
right. All right. Well, yeah,
Right, I mean that was fun.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
my pick.
pop in the comments your favorite all-time players and your favorite current favorite players. It was an absolute pleasure. And
Yes.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you
Thanks for
want to
having
be
me on.
part of these debates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna contact you and all of that. I've received some emails, and yeah, talk to you
All right.
soon.
Nice. Thanks, Simon.
Bye.
Yeah.